Hey, welcome back to the 311 Griffin YouTube channel. I'm in the F-16 again today, and this time I'm fighting the JF-17 Thunder AI in BVR combat with radar and IR missiles, and we'll see how that goes. This is it took me a few times to get this video. I shot several, and at first I was a little bit cocky, and I thought, you know, I can take the JF-17 in pairs, and I couldn't. I have yet to survive when there are two JF-17s. So I backed off a little bit and ate some humble pie and tried to fight just one, and that went a lot better. So this will be this I think is a little bit of an interesting video if you want to nerd out on what the missiles are doing and everything. And I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're going to watch the in-cockpit view first, and then I've cut up the external views from both perspectives, and I've cut them in a way where the things that happen when a missile gets launched, or someone jinks, or someone gets hit with a missile, those things are happening at the correct relative times to all the other events. So you'll see a picture of everything happening, I think. But there's even more detail that I noticed in the TAC view files. And so I'm going to spend a little bit of time in TAC view watching everything and analyzing what all happened. And I hope that you're interested in that kind of stuff and stick with me to the end. If not, I understand. Sometimes we just want to watch the cool stuff and then go on about our day. But anyway, I'm becoming more and more interested in what else is happening, and I'm starting to notice other things. And as I get into practicing BVR with the F-16, now that I feel like I've done what I can in dogfighting, I'm just trying to get a little bit more in-depth and well-rounded with this module, and so it takes a lot of practice. Anyway, I'm getting more interested in it, and I'm noticing more stuff, so we're going to focus on that a little bit today. And with that, I will stop rambling and see you again at the end of the video. Okay, so like I said at the beginning of the video in the intro, I'm going to take some time here. So if you're not interested in this and you close out the video, I totally understand. I'm going to be spending a decent amount of time looking at this from different angles. So, and another thing I do want to say before we get too far into this is that some of the stuff that I do that seems to work out really well, I don't necessarily do it intentionally all the time, and so, there's some things that I noticed watching the TAC view and watching the external views where I thought, wow, that was really good that I did that. I didn't necessarily mean to, or I meant to, but I didn't necessarily know that it was that necessary for me to do such and such. So, um, anyway, we're going to take a look at this, and I'm backing up because he's already fired. This is a really long shot. Um, I've heard a lot about these SD10s and how good they are, and they are pretty salty. So um, I found out. so anyway, we're going to look at this. This is at just under 30 miles, or about 30 miles. He launches this. I have no idea that he's launched it because I'm not getting a warning yet. I did not get a warning into. Well, I'll show you when I get a warning. We'll take a look at it from this angle, if I can remember exactly when that was. When I shoot my shot, okay, so right about here, I think 4 seconds before this point, I got a RWR warning. So that tells me that he's shooting in TWS mode. Whoops, I backed up too far. It was right about here is where I got the warning. So this thing is 11 miles away. I get an RWR warning that a missile shot has happened. Now, I've got pretty good airspeed because I'm trying to put as much energy as I can into this missile. And this guy still has decent energy. And luckily, I've made it crank over a little bit. So that's good. But this is a lot closer than I thought it was. When I was watching those external views, I thought, he shot a lot earlier than I thought he did. I thought I had more separation between me and the missile, so I wasn't worried about it and I wasn't panicking, which is good. But if I would have known it was closer, I probably would have been panicking a little bit more. So at that point, now I'm shooting my missile. So let's go over here. This is further away than I like to shoot my missiles, and I need to get a little bit better at this because I don't like shooting defensive missiles or missiles just to put the other person on the defensive, and I need to get better at doing that. Now, one problem with the F-16, I love the F-16, but one problem is it just can't carry that much stuff. So when you've got 4 to 6 AMRAAMs, and I don't know of situations where they carry 6 AMRAAMs, but usually it's 4 AMRAAMs and 2 AIM-9 Sidewinders. But I think, to my knowledge, that's the normal loadout if you're air-to-air kind of thing. But you really don't like wasting those. But anyway, this is under 20 miles, so that's good. But it's a lot further away than I like to shoot my missiles. Now, we're going to switch back to this missile. It's tracking really well, but luckily, I've bled off the energy. I'm diving to, oh yeah, now, sorry, there's a lot happening. We need to go back to this guy now because he just fired. Let's do that. Yep, back up. So he just fired another shot, and I don't remember if this was TWS or not, or it probably was. I'm assuming that it was a TWS shot, and I'm trying to think through the warnings. I don't know that I would have known a difference if it wasn't. So he's at about 15 miles now. If we look at where his nose, whoa, excuse me. If we look at where his nose is, I don't know that this is a great shot. Now, the SD10s, as it turns out, are pretty salty, but he's pointed kind of this way. Well, I guess we've got a line here that shows us. So he's pointed a little closer. out like that. But this missile, he's making it crank off because it's going to try to lead me as well. He's making it crank off really hard to the right. So I think that the AI's move here would have been, for numerous reasons, would have been to go ahead and turn through, fire the missile on or in front of where I am, and then continue that crank, because this missile has come off the rail and has started leading this way. And if he turns back and continues this way, this missile doesn't have to make very much adjustment. If he turns this way, the missile has to turn around like this to try to lead. So the AI should have, and really the AI make lots of mistakes. I die to the AI a lot, but when I kill them, it's because they make mistakes. And I'm happy they do it because it makes me feel better. But, and it's good to know that they make mistakes too, I guess. But anyway, so he's firing that, and then he turns back. So he put off a hard missile shot. It's having to turn really, really hard to get out in front of me. And then this missile doesn't have to turn, and he just starts doing some little loops and stuff, little rolls, I should say. Let's try to switch back over here, and we're gonna back up slightly because I want to watch this. Again, I did not know how close this SD-10 was, so we'll play. I just started turning back to get my second shot off, and I'm really, really glad that I did because I needed to badly. Okay, and there's my second shot. We are at 11 miles, which is a lot closer. I did not expect my first missile to hit because even though like I said earlier, I don't like doing the defensive shots. I felt like that's basically what it was something to try to make him maneuver while I'm trying to maneuver to defeat this guy. Now, I'm still getting pinged because this guy popped up. This one's dead. Luckily, I maneuvered out of its way inadvertently. And now I'm turning and I'm going to dive because I'm still getting pinged. So at this point here, somewhere in here, I am assuming that there's a second missile in the sky. I don't know where it is or how close it is. Wow, 3 miles away with still a lot of energy. I got kind of lucky here because of this maneuver that I did where I cranked to one side and then pulled back through and fired a missile, cranked to this side, pulled back through and fired a missile. I got kind of lucky there. Let's see here. Let's move back over to this missile because this part of the fight is about over because he's not doing much to get out of the way of this. And he's dead. So even at this point, there comes a point in this kind of a scenario where there's nothing you can do anymore. Where that point is just depends, I think, on how much energy you have and how much energy the missile has. But I think even at this point, if he would have continued turning around this way, dropping altitude because he doesn't have a ton of airspeed, so come down really hard, but try to keep your airspeed up and maybe try to shoot down this valley or turn and shoot down this valley or something like that. Not that the valley's going to save him from this missile necessarily, but I'm looking for an escape plan where he can get the most altitude out of it. So even at this point, I think the AI could have dodged that missile. Further back here, there may have been an option to turn away from the missile. That usually gets me in trouble, turning away from the missile, but at enough distance, you can turn away and keep your airspeed up and then outrun it. Ooh, I hit a button I didn't mean to hit. But in this case, oh, it's still good. In this case, he just didn't do either of those things. He did a little like, is that a barrel roll? Something along those lines. And then starts to turn away gently, rolls pretty hard, and just gets smacked. Okay, so my second AIM 120, we don't have to follow that anymore. Now I'm just interested in what these guys are doing. So that one's dead. This one's coming in, and man, they turn. These SD-10s, they turn and follow you for a ways. Okay, so luckily I'm diving and turning, and I don't have eyes on this missile, but at a point I always like to pull up. Once I know my energy's really, really good, I like to pull up. And what I'm hoping to do, and it worked in this case, even though I didn't know where this guy was, is drag these guys down, make them turn as much as possible, drag them down, and then when I climb, I can just bleed off whatever energy they've got left. Now, I didn't come up with that. That's just from other people's videos that I've watched, and they're good. You know, it's good advice, I think. So in this particular case, even though I didn't know where it was, I got pretty lucky, and it got close. It was, I thought it was okay. I guess it's getting closer through here, and then it starts getting further away right in there. So I got kind of lucky, but it just doesn't have the energy now to chase me. Now it's trying, and that's what's kind of scary, is it was really trying to chase me. And then I'm calling a little bit of shenanigans, because like right in here, I guess it's still pointing at me. Look at it. But somewhere in here is when I lost the RWR warning. I guess that's legitimate. It's probably legit. And then I can finally feel safe up here. So a couple of things to note in addition to what I've talked about already. None of these missiles bit on any chaff or flares. And I don't know that the chaff and flares were being employed quite correctly, but I don't think they ever bit. And now that I'm watching this speed, as long as I keep my speed up, I think this missile wasn't really that big of a problem ever. But there, I fired that missile and I started popping chaff and flares, and it's amazing that this thing can point that far out and still keep a lock on me. But I wouldn't say I'm beaming it. I don't exactly know how this sensor in this missile works. So anyway, it pulls a heavy lead. Look at that. It's making adjustments, and I'm popping those. I popped the chaff and flare back here when I thought that I was more beaming, and it didn't do anything to this guy. But that's close, and I didn't really know where it was, so I'm really glad that I decided to turn back and fire this second missile. And then same thing on this one. Whoops, I messed that up. There we go. This is a little bit, I would have thought that if any of the chaff and flares would have worked, it would have been those. But maybe they're too high in the sky compared to, I don't know. This sensor head just must have a really good rejection rate and ability to track. So anyway, countermeasures don't work that well against these, I don't suppose. And honestly, I don't know that they work that well against the AIM-120s either, as long as the AIM-120s are fired correctly. This all just kind of reinforces the idea to me that I've really got to watch my energy. And sometimes, especially when I'm against more than one opponent, my energy gets low because I'm trying to maneuver too much. I'm trying to maneuver to defeat the missiles and then get back into the fight quickly. And sometimes I think I overwork the aircraft and get it down, under 400 knots, and then I just don't have any energy left to do anything with. So I like watching these missiles curve around, and I'm just, sometimes it takes a little luck, I suppose, but keep your energy up and try to keep situational awareness. That's something else that I really struggle with, is getting overwhelmed with information, and then I lose track of stuff. So I guess those are my two key pieces of advice for myself, and if anybody else can utilize them, then all the better. And I think that I've gone through all the detail that was interesting me last night when I was looking through this. I don't believe I've left anything out. So so hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully that was enlightening to someone other than just me. But yeah, I think that's about it. And with that, I will shut it up and let you guys go. Happy flying.